In the headlines, Prime Minister refutes opposition claims he used questionable methods in disbursing financial relief to farmers. Government to appoint a new advisor on social policy interventions. And in sports, Cricket Australia names new coach after ball tampering controversy. I am Andrea Lee with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, opposition parliamentarian Hector John has advised government to review its disbursement process under future post-disaster response grants. John was decrying what he considers political interference in the distribution of an $18 million emergency agriculture grant. He told Parliament's Tuesday evening session that many bona fide farmers from his Salisbury constituency were sidelined.
The same day of the first payment that took place in St. Joseph, we had a lot of red flags. Concerns began to come in. Madam Speaker, farmers, bona fide farmers, had problems getting the support or getting paid or getting disbursement. And the name was not on the list, Madam Speaker. And these are farmers that everybody knew. They're in the market, they're selling to hucksters, Madam Speaker. They meet the requirement, but they were not on the first list. And Madam Speaker, you said, the minister said that there was no government interference. Salisbury had political interference. And that was a concern. As the Member of Parliament for the I tried to stay away, allow the machinery to work properly. But as the MP, I also represented the best interests of my constituents.
John has lamented that only 40 commercial farmers of Salisbury received payment.
Right now, Madam Speaker, you still have farmers and fishers in Salisbury constituency, and Monochet, who have not received any compensation. They did everything. They followed the protocol. They followed the procedures. Madam Speaker, you have the extension officers. I worked in the banana industry for 16 years, and I was the individual preparing the list. I was paying the farmers. No politics was involved. No minister called and said, Mr. John, pay that person or pay this person. It was being done through our database. They give us the criteria for payment, and we send out the list to different areas. And the farmers got paid. That's how it was done. No political interference. Madam Speaker, we had a database. That's how it was done.
John says government should undertake such an activity using a database to remove any perceptions of political interference.
Going forward, I heard the minister spoke of more monies coming in. We have to ensure that we have a database. Criteria set with the World Bank respected. I'm hearing of too many cancelled checks. You have bona fide farmers who are called to come and pick up the checks, and when they get there, they have a red flag by it. The extension officers, that is a conduit between the farmers and the government. They have a very important role to play. I am not saying that you will not have some concerns. That's why it's important that you get the information and you verify. And you eliminate some of the concerns that you have.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has debunked claims that he used his influence to allow farmers from his constituency to benefit from the agriculture grant. Mr. Skerrit responded to the Salisbury MP's charge during Wednesday morning's meeting of the House of Assembly. The Prime Minister says the opposition has to be careful with their statements since they can have consequences for the country.
And you see, they're saying so, Madam Speaker, hoping that the World Bank would note that and giving the world and the World Bank the impression that there was political interference on the part of the Prime Minister insofar as his constituency is concerned to unfairly provide his farmers with an advantage. And I'm saying to the American people, do not think that is affecting Roosevelt's character. I will say publicly with no apologies, Madam Speaker, I do not need no foreign money to help my farmers in Penville.
Referring to statistics, Skerritt says Salisbury farmers have benefited from $763,000 so far, over $651,000 for Penville farmers.
In respect to what the member for Salisbury said, that the farmers of Penville got much more money and many more farmers got money than Salisbury. Here it is. 37 commercial farmers in Salisbury got $10,000 each, at an amount of $370,000. 131 small farmers in Salisbury got $3,000 each, at a total of $393,000. Total amount for Salisbury, $763,000. Penville, 39 commercial farmers got $10,000 each at $390,000. 87 small farmers in Penville got $3,000 each, a total of $261,000, for a total amount of $651,000.
In other top stories, a new advisor to give counsel to government on social policy interventions will be appointed soon. That's according to Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, who made the announcement on Thursday. The Prime Minister says public support programs are beneficial to the vulnerable in society, and as a result, a senior-level official will be appointed to help guide government on the most efficient way to extend help to those in need. Skerritt was speaking at the opening ceremony of a two-day workshop to review the Joint Emergency Cash Transfer Program in Dominica.
In the next few days, I will be appointing a senior official with the rank of ambassador, who will serve as an advisor to the Minister and to myself as Prime Minister on social policy interventions. And that person's responsibility will also be to be a focal point for UNICEF, the World Food Programme, and UNDP in respect to social programs, social support. I also want today for you to look at the structure of the Social Services Department and to advise me on how do we go about strengthening that unit, that department, to be more robust, to be more nimble, and to be more responsive in our interventions in regards to our social programs.
Prime Minister Skerritt also sought to dispel the misconceptions that helping the less fortunate leads to increased dependency on government and reduced productivity in the country. He made reference to research that was carried out on social intervention programs and its impact on beneficiaries.
And this research paper has set aside these myths that, in fact, social interventions, there is no evidence to show that there's an increase in the use of alcohol and tobacco by the beneficiaries. That there is no evidence to show that it creates a level of laziness or dependency. As a matter of fact, it shows that in some cases, increasing productivity, increasing in personal investments.
Attorney General Levi Peter has challenged the opposition to take to the electoral office the names of electors who they believe are dead and should be removed from the electoral list. Since the 2014 general election results, which gave the ruling Labour Party 15 and the opposition UWP 6 seats, the opposition has been calling for electoral reform. This includes sanitizing the voters' list. The opposition has long held the position that there will be no new election in Dominica in the absence of electoral reform. The Attorney General spoke to some of those concerns in Parliament this week.
Members and the public will recall that last year this House had on the order paper two bills. I have both of them in my hands. One, the House of Assembly Elections Amendment Bill, and the other, the Registration of Electors Amendment Bill. Those bills, unfortunately, Madam Speaker, could not be proceeded with because of the conduct, and I lay the conduct squarely at the door of the opposition. Madam Speaker, other members have indicated today that we gathered here, the bills were down for debate, the opposition could have come to this House, they could have made their vigorous points of opposition or otherwise to the bills. They chose instead to gather a mob, and it's been described as a mob, and it was indeed a mob, to come and congregate outside the precincts and to cause great disruption. As I recall, to the point that police had to discharge firearms. And, Madam Speaker, that is the type of behavior that the opposition is allowing itself to become identified with.
The Attorney General says in spite of opposition attempts to derail government efforts last year, government's commitment to electoral reform remains on the table.
That the two bills are still here. There is talk about bribery and legalizing bribery, complete and utter nonsense. The fact is that none of the members of the opposition can point to one case, one instance, where they have been able to satisfy a court that there has been bribery in any of the several elections that this government has won. If their claim is accurate that there was bribery or there is bribery, I would have expected, Madam Speaker, that should have been very easy for them to establish. And indeed, the errant attempt, the latest, has spectacularly failed as well.
In his defense of government's position on electoral reform, the Attorney General also referenced part of a report by an OAS Electoral Observation Mission on voter registration.
A number of persons meeting with the OAS voiced distrust in the accuracy of the electors list due to the fact that the number of people registered exceeded the population of the country, and the member for Salisbury made that observation this morning. And what the report goes on to say is this: while there were 72,484 registered voters, the 2011 census indicates that the country's population is approximately 71,293. That's the supposed bloating. In response to these concerns, the Electoral Commission informed the OAS EOM that several press releases had been published informing citizens that the number of registered voters reflected the fact that Dominican electoral laws provided for continuous registration as well as strict procedures to remove electors from the list. Therefore, and this is the nub, Madam Speaker, therefore, the electors list did not intend to reflect the number of persons who are resident in the state at any particular point in time. Instead, the list comprises of electors who reside in Dominica as well as those who are duly registered but are absent from Dominica. The term absent to be noted. It goes on to state, Madam Speaker, delegates from the Commission informed the OAS EOM, that's the Electoral Observer Mission, that despite the fact that objections procedures were made public through press releases, the Commission/Electoral Office had only received a few notices of objections aimed at removing electors from the list in the period required by the law. Moreover, the Electoral Office asserted that they had over the years succeeded in removing deceased people confirmed by the civil registry.
This is the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for much more after the break.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001, 275-5003.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
Welcome back. Managing Director of Bello Factory, Michael Fagan, has responded to complaints that he abandoned his staff and fled the country. Iduna Jean-Baptiste has that story.
Michael Fagan, who spoke to Channel 5 News from New York, broke his silence on Thursday. The Castle Comfort plant is the only large-scale manufacturer which has not resumed operations since Hurricane Maria, leaving employees uncertain about their employment status. Fagan says he continues to seek capital to rebuild the business.
PW Belton Company produces fruits and vegetables. We process fruits and vegetables in quantity, which there is none in the country right now. There's very little in the country. My plant and equipment is in shambles. Both the river and sea came in. The company's been in the situation it's been in. I went on Dominica Radio, on DBS Radio, and I did ask for a meeting in Castle Comfort with my workers, and one of the workers lives on the route to where PW Belton Company is, and he told the other workers who showed up that it doesn't make sense that we go to any meeting, okay? And shortly thereafter, I left Dominica. I took my family out of Dominica for safety reasons because I was homeless.
In Monday's edition of Channel 5 News, 2 factory workers who have been employed over 20 years with P.W. Bellot and Company complained that staff had no word from management 7 months after the disaster, and they were being owed salaries, a matter which the employees' trade union confirmed. The question as it relates to the employees' status, what happens?
They choose to go and work anywhere they want. The plant is destroyed unless I can bring heavy equipment in and professionals to dig out the equipment, to remove the large debris, and to look at the equipment and be able to salvage what could work and what cannot work again. It's like having a car that the engine is in pieces. Unless you push the car, even then the car can't drive. They all know how to contact me. If anybody needs a letter of termination, he could have gotten it a long time already.
They have expressed some difficulty in contacting you.
My Dominica telephone number, we're still working. If they asked for a letter of termination, they didn't have to go to the union for that. We would have given it to them.
Secure housing structures is top on the agenda for parliamentary representative of the St. Joseph constituency. MP Kelva Daru says work is steadily ongoing on re-roofing and construction of houses, which remain top priority for the constituency.
Currently, we are an ongoing process of constructing 5 homes in the community of St. Joseph, about 4 homes in the community of Bells, and also about 2 of them in the community of Miro, and we have assisted in about 7 roofs in the community of Layo. So that in itself is a major achievement after the hurricane. The priority continues to be the re-roofing, and the Prime Minister has made funds available in the amount of $1.3 million thus far to assist in that regard. Additionally, we'll be receiving in the constituency 80 of the prefab concrete houses that we have started. That will form part of the 1,000 homes that the government has secured for residents of the country. And these homes will be located, some of them in the Hillsborough Gardens area, some of them in the Bells community, and we'll be also looking at areas in Miro.
An emergency shelter is under construction and is expected to benefit the people of Layo and York Valley from early next year. Daru says outside of this project, other shelters in the community are being renovated ahead of the upcoming hurricane season.
We are also looking to ensure that the hurricane shelters within the constituency, they are properly functional. The shelter managers and their assistants have already been identified. Whatever work that has to be done to get the shelters up to par, that will be undertaken, and we'll be ensuring that the residents who probably are at the most vulnerable areas, that is close to ravines and rivers, they have been relocated. So we have started the process, and we will continue to work to ensure that we can do as much as practically possible to ensure that everyone will be safe and secure during the upcoming hurricane season.
The St. Joseph MP also gave an update on progress in his constituency 7.5 months after Hurricane Maria.
We've also been able to clear all of the farm access roads in the constituency, get the farmers back to the farms, assist the farmers and the fisher folks in receiving the grants that the government has provided, and will continue to assist the less fortunate and the most vulnerable ones among us. The electricity has been restored in the communities of St. Joseph, Layu, Mero. Bells is yet to be restored as well as yet, but we will get to Bells shortly. Water has been fully restored in all parts of the constituency as well, so that is another plus. The health center and the other health services for the constituency, they are up and running and functioning. All the schools in the constituency are functioning, and I'm very pleased for that as well.
And over $8 million have been spent in the Joint Emergency Cash Transfer Program in Dominica. Minister for Family and Gender Affairs, who was at the time Minister for Social Services, under which the program falls, says this project helped to reach thousands of vulnerable Dominicans. The project, a joint effort between the World Food Programme and UNICEF, was launched in December 2017 and ran for 3 months.
As of March 26, 2018, a grand total of $8,128,303.43 was estimated to be expended on the Joint Emergency Cash Transfer Program, which represented 7,402 households. So this means that for the 7,402 households, an easy amount of $5,269,680, and to the children, the 5,824 children, $2,358,720.
A 2-day workshop to review the Joint Emergency Cash Transfer Program got underway on Thursday, and Minister Daniel says, luckily, Dominica already had mechanisms in place to help expedite the assistance to the needy.
What was perhaps most important about this response was that it used a number of existing mechanisms within the government systems. So we have things going already. And, you know, it's very good that we didn't have to reinvent the wheel, that we could immediately start because we had the systems in place, so it expedited things. I want to highlight the importance of sustainability of this important program and other such programs to ensure that Dominica's social protection system and programs are better equipped to respond to any catastrophic event like this in the future.
Also on Thursday was the signing of the first official cooperation agreement between the World Food Programme and UNICEF to utilize this model emergency cash transfer program in the Latin America and Caribbean regions. That's news. Stay tuned for your sports highlights with Kenny Williams.
The Dominica Football Association to launch another football development program soon. DFA president says his organization is looking at setting up stations around the country which is targeted at further football development. Recently, the association launched several grassroots programs around the island.
What also we intend to do is to set up some regional technical centers around the island, which is going to benefit football a lot. So instead of, we're going to have maybe one in Roseau, we're going to have in the north, we're going to have in the east of the island, where we will, instead of bringing coaches to that area, we will skill the coaches so that they will take care of the technical centers in this area. And we're talking about at a very early age, grassroots football, and then we bring them to a central location like an elite academy, and we will nurture them and give them the technical aspect of.
Etienne says the DFA is committed to continuous coaching development since coaches are the ones who help groom the local football talent for outside competition.
Well, coaching has been an ongoing process for us at the DFA. I mean, we can never stop giving person knowledge in terms of football development, because persons would have come and some would have lived the sport. So coaching is a development that we will continue right through our football career or whatever in Dominica. What we have even started doing is for DFA to have their own certification. In other words, so we see a number of coaches on the benches, but they do, not that they hang on the knowledge, but some form of certification. So we want to make sure that everybody sitting at the bench in football will have a DFA certification, and that itself will help us. So when we have the CONCACAF courses, we know exactly who are the person we should be targeting and what level we are targeting them.
Moving on to basketball, there were wins for Dominica Grammar School and State College in the School Girls League on Wednesday, beginning with DGS versus Pierre Charles Secondary game at the PCSS ground, where Grammar School dominated with an impressive 98-11. With a well-deserved 27 from Desra Clark, Ariel Roger and Janae Seraphine added 22 points each to ensure the win. For PCSS, Whitney Williams and Jocelyn Thomas could only get 4 points each. Over at Lindo Park in a rematch of last year's finalists, Dominica State College beat Portsmouth Secondary School 39-28. For Dominica State College, Kyla Winston netted 25 points, while Rachel Marshall and Jade Powell came in with 6 each. In a losing effort for PSS, we had Kaylee Clark with 24, while Unique Powell and Bianca Fergadin contributed 4 points each. The league is scheduled to continue on Friday with Portsmouth Secondary up against St. John's Academy in the male category at Benjamin's Park. Starting time is 3 in the afternoon. And finally, Justin Langer named Cricket Australia's head coach following recent ball tampering controversy. Justin Langer has replaced Darren Lamon as coach of the Australian team in a time of uncertainty as Cricket Australia seeks to clean up the game's image and culture in the wake of the Newlands ball tampering affair. It is believed that Langer was the team's strong preference to replace Lemon whenever he chose to finish a tenure stretching back to 2013. This did not change despite the event at Cape Town, which have ushered 2 separate reviews into the state of the national teams and Cricket Australia in general.
When I think about, well, Cameron Bancroft and Steve Smith, literally, besides Mike Hussey, love the game of cricket more than anyone I know. They are cricket tragics, and they're great kids. And you know, that's why it was such a surprise they made the mistake they did, I think. But they're great kids. They've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We can all get better at things. Davey Warner's the same. He's a really good young bloke. He made a mistake. Has he got areas to get better at? Yep. Has Steve Smith? Yep. Has Cameron Bancroft? Yep. Have every single person in Australian cricket? Yep. We've all got areas we can get better at if we can keep mentoring them and helping them, and they want to keep getting better and they want to meet the standards of the Australian cricket team, then of course they'll be welcome back.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Be sure to join us next time.
To end the news, the headlines again. Prime Minister refutes opposition claims he used questionable methods in disbursing financial relief to farmers. Government to appoint a new advisor on social policy interventions. And in sports, Cricket Australia names new coach after ball tampering controversy. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us next time.